Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. We've got a great show for you today. We're heading down to Tennessee with listener Angela to talk about her split-stay vacation to Walt Disney World just a couple of months back in May, where she went down with her husband and her 3-year-old. Jay becomes the star of the show today, and we talk about staying at Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort and a splurge on the back end of the trip, club level, over at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. We talk about visiting all 4 theme parks, great meals at places like Topolino's for breakfast, why Raglan Road was a big hit for her family. We pick between Crystal Palace and Chef Mickey's, which one of those experiences she liked the best, using Genie Plus, and some great tips that will transfer over once the system changes over to the Lightning Lane-based system, and just tips for requesting rooms at Caribbean Beach and more. Lots of great tips and awesome, heartwarming stories for your Monday. So get ready. We have a great show for you today. Don't forget, our podcast always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. The agents are standing by right now to help you plan in a great Disney adventure to your favorite Disney destination for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details right now over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon, and use that for Prime Days this week. Please, we'd love it. And also, thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You guys are the lifeblood of our show. I can't thank you enough for that. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. It's like a cup of coffee a month, and you really do support the show and keep us going. And for that, we thank you with a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. Coming over this week, support us. We'd appreciate it. It's at patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2521 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from beourguestpodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you're having a great start to your week. I am back from the Disney Fantasy Cruise, and I hope I had a great time. I'm recording this one a little bit early because right when you get back, things are crazy, as you know, when you return home from vacation. So I always want to make sure we have a show there that is ready to go and in the can. So here we are, and we're going to have a great trip report to start this week. We are already midway point of July. Not trying to set off any red alerts for teachers, but I would not watch TV because I'm guessing those back to school ads are running hot and heavy at this point. I remember those days when I used to teach elementary school. Stay away from TV. I'm telling you, I don't know how it works like with Instagram and all that stuff, but man, when I started seeing those, I started getting the night sweats. I was like, oh, it's coming. It's like first at the end of June, it's like a little bitty pin light, and by mid-July, that train light is almost like staring you in the face. So just hang on to summer super tight. It's still summer. Do not start doing seating charts. Do not go to the teacher store and buy borders. And if you're teachers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Do not. Some of you guys are super teachers and you want to do these things. Go to the pool, relax. Do not give in to the urge. It's still summer. Relax. There'll be time for that later. But today, we're heading to Walt Disney World, the Great Trip Report, and we're heading down to the state of Tennessee where they have a baseball natty right now, and I know our Vols fans are super excited about that. Angela's joining us today. Angela, thanks for coming on. Happy Monday to you. How you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to come on and talk about Disney. It's one of my favorite things, so I'm very excited.
So how's summer going for you? I mean, you got back, we're talking about a trip just happened a couple of months ago, so a fresh trip here in May, but summer down in the Smoky Mountains, how's that?
Well, it is hot. It is in the 90s every day and humid, and honestly, I'm not a teacher, so I am ready for fall.
I'll be honest. My perspective on everything changed as soon as I walked out of the classroom. You know what? Because I was always like, oh, God, hold on to summer at all costs. And I'm married to a teacher, right? So I got to be careful. I'm super, I could be, I could be murdered at any time by the words I say, because we used to be on the same page, man. We taught next door to each other for years. So we were just like conjoined twins when it came to philosophies with Summer. And now, I mean, I'm a huge, huge college football fan. So we are mere weeks away from the college football season starting. And I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but my team, I think, is going to have a good season this year. And I can like taste it. It's so close. But like, my wife doesn't want me to wish away summer for her, but I'm just like, oh, we're going to be at the zoo so soon. We're going to be in Como. We're going to be having Shakespeare's Pizza. And she's like, stop. I'm like, no, let's get it there. It won't be so hot. The beautiful fall colors. She's like, but that means I'm back at work. I'm like, but the house is quiet. And then when I say that, I'm dead, because I work from home. So then it's like, okay, I've just crossed the line. So anyway, it is funny how perspective changes things. But so teachers hang in there anyway. So let me ask you this. I want to change the subject in case my wife, she never listens to the show, but if she does, I'm a dead man. So what's your background with Disney though, besides the trip we're going to talk about today? Like growing up, how did you become a Disney fan?
I started going to Disney. I think I was probably 6 years old the first time I went to Disney World. And we went probably every other year when I was a child, and I just loved it. I mean, I just have wonderful memories, wonderful pictures that I look back on with, my parents and all the characters. And I've always loved Disney movies. So, I mean, I've just always been a huge Disney fan. And then in high school, I did competitive cheerleading. So we went every year that I was in high school. I know I've been to Disney World. I can't even count how many times at this point. But it's been a lot. And then once my husband and I got married, we took our first trip down there together in 2019, and I got him hooked
Nice.
at that point.
That always helps.
Yeah. And so we've just gone, well, since we've had our baby, he's 3 now, but we've been probably twice a year since he's been, 7 months old. So
lucky kid. He's going to have some good times at the Disney destinations. It's like,
I know.
It's like Mallory. She's so spoiled. I didn't get to I went to Six Flags. I mean, if I was lucky, it's 45 minutes from Mallory, right? She's platinum on Disney Cruise Line. Like, dude.
Wow.
It's not
that is one
fair.
thing I have not done. I have not done Disney Cruise. I would love to.
Be careful. It'll hook you.
Amazing.
Dennis is in our chat. He's down in Texas. He is a big Disney Cruise Line fan, just like myself. It grabs you quick. I mean, if you're a fan of the parks, it's like, it's everything the parks does well, but everything's easier because the ship's only so big. You don't get exhausted. Right. It's not as hot, in the summer. Right. And the service is amazing. The meals are amazing. I can tell by what you did on this trip we're going to talk about here in a second. You'd love it. So just tread lightly because you will be back time and time again.
I know. I'm trying to put it off because I know I'll probably be addicted to it after I do it once. So
I got it. I just got to spend 2 seconds on this because you mentioned something. I'm a cheer dad, and I know we have lots of cheer dads and cheer parents out in our audience. So you're a competitive cheerleader, went to Walt Disney World. So were you down there for like Summit or Worlds or something like that and competed there that way, or how was that?
I honestly don't even remember. It's been a while since I was in high school. So I don't really remember exactly. It was during our spring break typically. So it would have been like mid-March time frame.
That's when they are.
But it was, I didn't cheer for like a club. I cheered for my school.
Okay.
So.
Well, our high school is going down about that same time this year. So it's, it's not Summit or Worlds. It's right before that. And it's the national championships. Yeah. So, and so that's what our Francis Howell Vikings are doing this year. So we're excited for that. So hopefully we can bring home a natty. We'll see.
Oh, that's exciting.
I'm excited.
I have great memories of my competitive cheer days.
It's
Miss
fun.
it.
Well, I mean, of course I never did it, but I like being a cheer dad. It's cool. I don't have any sons. So, it's a great way to go to Friday Night Lights, see your daughter on the sidelines and let's go.
That too.
But I mean, people don't know. I mean, I think if you don't know like the sport of cheerleading, you think it's all just rah. No, man, the athletics and competitive cheerleading, all-star cheer is unbelievable. These athletes could outdo the
Really.
football players in many, many aspects. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
like they're daredevils. It's on
Oh, yeah.
the
And
skill
the things
level.
they're doing now are
Holy
even
cow.
more impressive than,
It's
when I did it, it was so long ago. They're doing even more impressive things now. I
it's
mean, it really is amazing.
it's
So,
unbelievable. Like it scares me to death. Like I mean, when I go
yeah,
watch, because like Mallory's at a certain level, but like I'll buy a ticket for like level 6, for like at Worlds and stuff. I'm just like. It scares me, but it's like anything else, right? It scares you. It's like I got to buy a ticket to watch it. I'm like I watch it with like
right,
one eye closed, like oh god,
right.
please don't get hurt.
Absolutely.
You're doing stuff that you probably shouldn't be
Absolutely.
doing. But yeah, anyway, this isn't a cheerleading podcast, but it could be. Well, okay, so let's talk about your trip. So you went down in May. How did this trip come together? Like, why did you guys plan it, and who all went, and all that kind of stuff?
Well, we planned it originally for my son's third birthday. His birthday is the 20th, and my husband and I also happen to have a wedding anniversary on the 24th, and it was our 10-year wedding anniversary. So we just decided to kind of make a big trip, really, do things we had never done before, stay places we had never stayed before, and just kind of go all out for it. So we really started planning it almost a year in advance, just thinking about when we wanted to go, where we were going to want to stay. And I mean, we started booking everything pretty soon after they put out the 2024 packages in 2023. So we got right to it.
Which I like booking things early because, and I've
Yeah.
said this on the show many times, it gives you more time to anticipate and it makes the overall experience longer, and
Yes.
there's something to be said for booking something 2 weeks in advance because you don't have to air quotes like torture yourself with waiting. There's something to be said
Right.
for that, but there's also an excitement in, the
Yeah.
countdown, the anticipation, the planning and a lot of
Yeah.
us tinker with the plans all the time, make ADRs, modify, look at, oh, we're
Mhm.
going to do this on that day, get outfits, stuff like that. So I like that idea. So if
I
it's,
do too. I'm a huge planner, so for me, part of the fun is doing all the planning. I know not everyone is like that, but it's one of the things I really enjoy about Disney.
I'm terrible
So,
about it for my own trips. Like we never have ADRs. I've got to go like a lot of time with Scott. Scott just tells me where and when to be for dinner. And I'm like, okay, cool. Cause I'll eat anything and anywhere. I don't care, He's like, dude, we're going
nice.
to Citrico's. Like, don't wear a hat. Like, okay, fine. Now you just show up in a hat, but what are you going to do? Okay. So you guys went, so you finally ended up, you did a split between Caribbean
Mhm.
Beach and the Polynesian. And the Polynesian, we'll talk about that in something special over there.
Yeah.
So tell us why you picked these two resorts. You kind of you said you're looking for something different, but I like this mix. Like I was trying to think about like piecing this together and I'm always trying to like connect the dots. And I don't know if you were intentionally doing this, but Caribbean Beach and Polynesian, both that tropical vibe.
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah,
intentional or was it
that's pretty much
accidental? Was it?
why
Okay. I was just
we
wondering.
love Caribbean Beach. We've actually been there several times, and it just makes us feel like we're on vacation because it does have that kind of beachy
Hmm.
vibe to it. But we also are huge fans of the Skyliner, and especially with Toddler who's in a stroller, it's just so convenient transportation wise. You don't have to fold up the stroller every time you get on. So Caribbean Beach was just, kind of a no brainer for us. And then we had never stayed at the Polynesian before. Um, but we knew that we wanted to do a split stay and stay at a deluxe for at least a couple of nights. And we had visited the Polynesian just on Magic Kingdom days, like taking a break from the park, going over there, getting Dole Whip, letting our son run around. They've got that little grassy area.
Yep. Hmm.
Letting him run around out there and take a nap in a stroller where it's quiet. So we have really enjoyed the Polynesian just at short periods of time, and I've always wanted to stay there. It was kind of like a Disney bucket list for
Same.
me.
That's me too.
So
Yeah, totally.
yeah, so I figured, we're celebrating two, big things, and why not do the thing we want to do the most and stay at the Polynesian? So that's what we did.
So give me, you have a couple of tips here, I think, about Caribbean Beach. So you stay there. Skyliner access is always, I think,
Mhm.
everybody's number one as to why you stay at Caribbean Beach.
Yep.
That gets you to the studios. I mean, amazingly quick.
Mm-hmm.
Epcot as well. I mean, it's just a little bit more of a distance to Epcot, but I mean, 10 minutes and you're there. You don't have any of the switches like you have at Pop or Art. You got that kind of, you got to go to Caribbean Beach first. But you guys were in Aruba. So you have, I think, a tip for if you're in Aruba. And I think this could work if you're kind of in Jamaica, that is also towards Aruba and those buildings that may be towards that end as well. But give us some tips for Caribbean Beach.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are staying in Aruba and if you want to request to stay in Aruba, I highly recommend it. You can use the Skyliner at Riviera. You can also pick up your breakfast from Primo Piatto at the Riviera, and then just get on the Skyliner. So that's what we did a lot. We mobile ordered our breakfast as we were getting ready because we're big on rope drop. We get there for early entry. Before early entry, like we want to be some of the first people in the park. So we made it a point to mobile order our breakfast. We would pick it up, have our bag of food, get on the Skyliner, and then as soon as we touched down, we, put our son's food in his tray on his stroller, and we'd be eating our breakfast sandwiches as we're rolling in, going through security, scanning into the park. It just made everything a lot quicker, a lot easier. We even took the bus from Riviera to Animal Kingdom because it was just so much closer.
Right. Yeah. And so you got to
and the
think
breakfast
outside the box
situation
sometimes like that,
easier.
right? I mean, I think sometimes you just think, I'm at Caribbean Beach, I have to take the bus. It's sometimes like if you're at, say you're leaving the Magic Kingdom and you're staying at Pop Century, sometimes the Art of Animation bus is there. Like, jump on it and just walk back. You just walk across the bridge. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you just got to look at options and use a little common sense. That's smart because in Aruba,
Absolutely.
you just walk right to that bus because the bus is actually right around the corner there at the Riv. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. If you're picking up food, especially at the Riviera, it's just very easy to walk through their lobby, which is also great because it's so beautiful in there.
And it smells
And
good.
yeah, and it smells great. Yeah, I love it. And then so you can just walk through the lobby through to the front where the buses are, and there was no one waiting for the buses. I mean, it was so nice, so much less stressful. And then also coming back and getting off at the Riviera if you are staying at Aruba because it's the last stop. So you have to sit and wait for every stop when you're coming back to Caribbean Beach if you're in Aruba. But if you get off at the Riviera, you can just get off the bus and just walk right to your
That's great.
your building.
Yeah. And that's why I love these shows because every Monday I learn something and hopefully our audience, somebody might be going down to Caribbean Beach next week or, in 6 months, they can request Aruba and then they're like, oh, I'm just going to keep this in the back of my mind. This is something that might save them 1,000 steps over a week or 10, save them their sanity, with a kid. So let me ask you one other thing about Caribbean Beach and we got so much other things to talk about. Caribbean Beach has that cool playground that's kind of out, on the island there as you cut across. Did you guys, because it's kind of over by Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago, but did you guys get any time on there?
It was like in between where we were staying and the main building.
Yeah. I mean, I've always thought that playground looks super cool, but of course I don't have any little kids anymore. But I mean, did your son get to play on that or anything?
No, I always think that too as we're walking by,
looks awesome.
We're typically on our way somewhere else. We took advantage of the pool a lot, though.
That pool is the pirate looking kind of theme pool. Yeah, that looks like
he
a lot of
loved
fun
that.
too. Yeah.
So we did not really have a lot of time to play at the playground, but yes, I agree. It looked like a lot of fun, and I did see other families there, and kids looked like they were having a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, I've always thought that looks like a really cool playground of all of them because it's kind of hidden, but it's there once you find it. Like it's like, ooh, I discovered it. It's a little cool place to play. Okay, so we'll hold off on the Polynesian here for a second. Let's kind of jump into the theme parks. Now, you mentioned you guys are very well planned out. Like you're like a well-oiled machine. You haven't figured out like kid in the stroller, mobile order the food. Grab it. We're kind of rolling. We're eating. We're getting on transportation. We're a machine in motion here. We got everything going. We're hitting the touch points and we're not stopping. We're heading to attraction 1. But it looks like you guys also use Genie Plus.
Yes.
Which days are numbered, baby. It's going to be.
I know. I'm pretty excited about the change, to be honest.
Me
I'm
too.
excited about it.
This will be great for you because you like planning. This will give you a little heads up, something to do before you leave home.
I've been waiting for them to do that.
So I'll be honest, me too. I mean, I think it's good for everybody. It's good to,
Yeah.
I just think everybody will get on the airplane or get in your car feeling better. Like, hey, I have 3 attractions in my pocket already. I know this is going to happen. Instead of like, I hope when I get up this morning, I get, I mean, hope's great and everything, but come on now. Anyway, so you guys have Genie Plus and you're, using individual lightning lanes, I think, here and there. So overall, how did you feel about the experience? The new system hasn't gone into place yet. It goes to place about 10 days from now. But what did you think? Did you feel comfortable with it? Did you master the system? What was your feeling overall?
Yeah. Well, we had used it in the past. But I would say this trip we had just a lot of great luck with it. And I think a lot of that boils down to we went during a time that wasn't quite as busy. Because we went 2 weeks before Memorial Day week. And so we really missed all of those crowds. And I think in the past, when we've gone during busier times, I have had trouble with Genie Plus actually being able to get times that worked for us. Just because we have Toddler, we're on a nap schedule. We can't just take the next available.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just make things at 8 p.m. because he's going to be too tired, that kind of thing. But we had a lot of really great luck with it this time. We got to ride everything we wanted to ride, sometimes multiple times. And I mean, the things that we didn't ride were things that weren't necessarily a priority for us. So yeah,
so
we had great luck with it.
What tips? I mean, I know that the system is going to change, but I mean, it's still going to be similar. The strategies, I think, will stay the same, right? As far as trying to go after, because I mean, it's still lightning lanes.
True.
So what did you learn, especially with a toddler, right? Because that's a different concern because you have height restrictions and you have, toddlers are kind of finicky. Sometimes they want to ride certain things, they don't. You got to consider you can't just run a toddler into the ground. I mean, you gotta slow down. But what did you learn with the system that worked well for you that maybe could help our audience moving forward, folks going down similar situations?
So we had enough time that we had a couple of days that we didn't rope drop in the park. So on the days that we were rope dropping, we really prioritized just getting the next available right away, the earliest thing, and then going straight to the next available. Not worrying about which ride it was necessarily. Whereas on the days that we went into the park later, I really focused on stacking. So that's really where I made it a priority to get things that I knew filled up quickly early on in the day and maybe were available later in the day, typically, like Peter Pan's Flight. That one is at Magic Kingdom. It goes quick. I'm trying to think. Frozen at Epcot. I stacked that one. I mean, just as examples, you want to go for the things that are pretty late, very early on in the day when you check. So I just really focused on stacking when I could, and otherwise not worrying about which ones I was getting. Just going to the next one.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do something very similar when I use it because I use it more at Disneyland, but I use kind of the same strategy. Okay, so I'm looking at your theme park days, because you sent me kind of just some brief notes that we're using here to kind of guide the discussion. With a kid, though, with a 3-year-old, I'm shocked at the order that you attack the parks. And I'm wondering if it was because, and I am this way, but I don't know if I'd be this way with a 3-year-old. You didn't do the Magic Kingdom till your last theme park day. And when I looked over there, I would have guessed that Magic Kingdom would have been your first day. But you went Animal Kingdom, Epcot Studios, and you had some pool days in there in between. And then Magic Kingdom was going to be your last day. You had some snafus with travel and stuff. But was that intentional, kind of a save the best for last kind of situation? Because that's what I always do, like with my favorite ADR. And, that's what so I always want to have something at the end of the trip to look forward to. Like I always do like a tour or something. I save something big for the end intentionally. Or did it scheduling, or what was your thinking with your theme park layout days? Because you obviously have a plan.
Yeah, so we knew we wanted to do Magic Kingdom while we were staying at the Polynesian because we wanted to take advantage of the monorail. And we really went back and forth on what order we wanted to do our split stay. But having listened to this podcast, having heard, save your deluxe for the end of the trip.
100%.
Because it's nicer, it's more comfortable. It really gives you that more
Yeah,
relaxed
you can't go
feel.
backwards. That's 100% true. That is, yeah,
Yeah,
you couldn't go Polynesian Caribbean beach. It'd be hard. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of just worked out that we did Caribbean Beach on the front end and our 2 nights at Polynesian on the back end. And so we wanted to use the monorail for Magic Kingdom.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah, because the buses, again, when you have a stroller and you're trying to pack up the stroller and all the bags that are in the stroller, and it's after fireworks and everyone's tired and the bus is packed, like we just didn't want to have to worry about
No.
that. So that's why we saved Magic Kingdom for last.
No, I wasn't even thinking that's why. I just wonder because like sometimes, I get there and like the Magic Kingdom just calls to me, like the ocean calls to Moana or something. I don't know. Like I just got to I feel like I'm not there till I see the castle sometimes, it's just,
Yeah.
I
Well,
get
as
that
a
itch.
hot take too, it is not my favorite park and it's not
Really?
my husband's favorite park. So,
So you guys Animal Kingdom people, you went there first.
I do love Animal Kingdom. Our favorite park is Epcot.
Is it? Okay, cool. I see. I love that people have their favorites and everybody has a different, that's one of the great things I love about Disney in general is that everybody can like something different. And it's so, like you got your favorite resorts. People like Pop Century, some people like Caribbean Beach. Some people are just Coronado people. And I'm a Coronado guy.
Yep.
I love it. And that's that's what makes this podcast. If everybody like the same thing, it'd be just such a boring show every week. Like, hey, let's talk about.
Well, and Disney has so much to choose from.
Exactly.
I mean, you're never going to get bored. There's something for everyone.
Exactly.
So it's great. Yeah.
All right, so there's so much on here I want to talk about. So let's talk about the Poly real quick because we can wrap up the resort part because I want to talk about some of the great dining you did and some of these other things. And your time in the theme parks, obviously. So the Poly, you guys did club levels, big splurge.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes,
just being the Poly is a splurge. So, I mean, how was it? I don't know what else to ask because I can imagine that just had to be amazing.
It was absolutely amazing. And it was especially amazing with our son. When we made the switch over from Caribbean Beach to Polynesian, originally I had planned to not do a park day at all that day and just have a resort day. But I really struggle with that because if I'm at Disney, I want to be in the parks. So we ended up, going into the park later in the evening. But when we got to the Poly, because we had reservations at Ohana for breakfast that morning, we had breakfast, went to the pool for a little while, and then our room still wasn't ready. But the club lounge has snacks. It has a little quiet area kind of upstairs that has like a couch. They're playing Disney Junior shows. And we were able just to let our son kind of lay down, have a snack, relax. It just gave us so much more comfort than what normally happens when your room's not ready yet and you show up early. So just for that alone, I would say it was worth it for us. But also the breakfast in the morning is fantastic at the club lounge. Because we did that both mornings, Friday morning and Saturday morning. Wonderful.
So what kind of offerings do they have? Because like I've heard, but I mean, you were just recently there, and for folks that have never had a club level experience, what is that like? Just so we can kind of get a peek behind the curtain.
For breakfast specifically,
or just kind of what they offer like for the snacks, breakfast throughout the day. What kind of amenities are in the lounge?
So for breakfast, they had all manner of. They had all kinds of croissants and pastries and that kind of thing. They also had eggs and bacon and all your typical breakfast stuff, but it was just prepared really well. And I thought that the quality was just really on point, honestly, in comparison to a lot of other breakfasts. You can get eggs and all that pretty much anywhere on property, but the quality of the cooking was really, really good at the club lounge.
It's probably, I guess it's probably coming from Ohana or
yes.
Same kitchen.
Oh, and they did have Pog juice. They had Pog juice in the club lounge too. So that was great. And then for snacks and things throughout the day, they had candy, but they also had make your own trail mix. So they had like pretzels and M&Ms and nuts and that kind of stuff. Different crackers and dips and chips and, that kind of thing. They also have complimentary alcohol. So they have like beer throughout the day. And then at night, they have wine and champagne, and so it was really nice. They have ice cream at night during the fireworks.
Now you're talking my language.
Yeah. So you can make your own sundae and sit and watch the fireworks from the club lounge, because it also overlooks the Magic Kingdom fireworks. So.
And it has that big window, right? Is that
It's
right?
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were really shocked, honestly, when we walked in. And I had already done research and watched some YouTube videos and things just to know what to expect and to decide if I thought it would be worth it, because it is a splurge, obviously. But walking in and seeing it in person, I mean, it really was just beautiful. All of the details that they have in there, I mean, it's just beautiful.
You totally need to do it. You totally need to do a cruise, by the way, because this is totally you're speaking the cruise language. All these things are what you do on a cruise. I'm just telling you, walk into when you get announced onto the ship and you see the atrium with the chandelier. I mean, you just described walking onto a Disney Cruise Line ship. By the way, I'm just saying. Okay, so we'll leave that. We'll leave that one.
It'll happen one day.
You'll come back on the show and talk about your first Disney cruise. I can't. It's going to be fun. Now, I got to ask you something too, because we didn't talk about this. We talked about it in the pre-show. I want to get it here on the show. First time you flew, because normally you guys, you're in kind of Eastern Tennessee, so you're within a reasonable striking distance of driving. It's not too bad. It's kind of a tweener there.
It's about 10 hours driving.
Okay, it's pretty. I mean, I used to drive. It's 15 from St. Louis, but I was crazy. And finally, I was like, first time I flew, I was like, I'm never driving again. That was way too easy. 2.5 hours. I'm here. I'm home. Nope. I'm not doing that again. So you said probably never going to go back to driving, and you had a toddler. So what did you learn from the flying experience, considering it's your first time flying down? Like what, just tell us about that.
Well, I mean, I have flown a lot, so I am a fairly well-versed traveler, and so is my husband. But we had never flown with our toddler. So that was an experience. We definitely loaded up the iPad with things for him to watch to keep him busy, got him the headphones. We gate checked our stroller, which was super helpful. Just all of those things. I will say, going through Nashville, security was a breeze. Orlando security was not. It was very long. The line was atrocious. It was
busy.
We were not prepared. So definitely, if you're flying out of Orlando, get there early. Give yourself lots of time to get through the security line, because it was a lot. But yeah, we just made sure that we had snacks and all the things to keep our son entertained. It's about a 2.5 hour flight from Nashville to Orlando, so it's not too bad. Yep. It's not too long to ask him to sit, especially if we've got movies for him and things like that. So
it sounds like me. As long as I have a movie, I can. Because we're a 2.5 hour flight from St. Louis too. As long as I got a good podcast, I'm good. And
yeah, but he did great. I mean, he loves airplanes anyway. So we just, every time we would see an airplane, we'd point and say, hey, you're gonna ride one of those, and he was very excited. So we just really tried to hype him up about it.
Right. I mean, it's all really about how you sell things like this, right?
Yes,
I mean, basically,
exactly.
for a toddler, I mean, it could be the first ride.
Parents are the best salesmen, 100%. For sure.
I mean, you just make it you make it the first big ride of the trip, like, hey, we're going on a ride to see Mickey Mouse. You don't say like, oh, we're going on a plane. I mean, if you go at them like, oh, we gotta get on this stupid plane, it's gonna be miserable for 5 hours. The course kid's gonna probably like, oh, this is gonna hey, we're getting on this. We're gonna ride a plane to go see Mickey Mouse, man. I think it's awesome.
That's exactly what we did. Yep.
And a lot of times too, what I've noticed, this is a sidebar, but like the gate going to Orlando, because I always fly Southwest, and
that's what we did too.
And yeah, I figured going out of Nashville because they're pretty big there too.
Yep.
But it's like, it seems like that's kind of always like the fun gate, like if you're next to like, say, like, I don't know, like Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm sorry, Wade, or like, Omaha, or, I don't know, somewhere in Kansas, or, I don't know, pick your other just regular town, St. Louis, if it was coming back to St. Louis, like nobody at that gate looks happy. You know what I'm saying? But like everybody at the Orlando gate,
They're
People have
wearing
on
their
Disney
Disney
stuff.
stuff.
Like, everybody's
People
going on
already have their
vacation.
ears on.
Exactly.
I
Like everybody's
mean,
happy.
yeah,
Yeah, the whole plane's happy. Like even the flight attendants a lot of times feed into it. They're like, "Oh, we're getting ready to go see
yes.
Mickey Mouse," and yeah, it's like the party plane. I mean, I guess the same way if you get on the Vegas plane. I don't know. I've never actually I did do that because I connected through Vegas when I went to Disneyland. And it was kind of like that, but some
Yeah,
people
yeah. I've
shouldn't. Yeah.
connected through Vegas before too. And yeah, it was different. I was on a work trip when I did it, so I was like very not prepared for what everyone else was
Yeah,
was
same. I was
experiencing on the
going to
plane.
Disneyland. I was just like, I was going to get to Disneyland. I'm not here to gamble, but let's go.
It is
Okay,
funny though.
so I got to talk about times in the parks. You guys did the 4 major theme parks with a
Yep.
toddler. You had individual. You had Genie Plus. You did some individual lightning lanes. We don't really have to break it down like day by day, park by park. But let's just tell some stories. Like, what were some of the standout, maybe attractions or character meet and greets, or just looking back now 2 months later, what were highlights from the theme parks with your family?
Well, I would say the first one that happened would have been on our first day at Animal Kingdom. I don't know, we still don't know why this happened, but when we were riding Navi River, the cast member who was unloading people after the ride just looked at us and said, "Hey, do you guys want to ride again?" And we were like, "Yeah, we would love to ride again." And he said, "Well, just stay on." And so he just let us stay on the boat and we just went right back through. So we rode it twice in a row.
See, I'd always be like, why?
I
I'd be
know, we don't
grateful, but
know
I'm always like,
why.
why?
We don't know why, but we just thanked him graciously and took it and enjoyed it. And our son loves that ride and we love that ride because it's just so beautiful and immersive. And so, we were very excited about that. And that's just not something that happened. I've never had that happen at Disney on any ride. So I was very surprised and excited about that. So I don't know if he saw, we obviously had our buttons.
Yeah.
My husband and I both had an anniversary button and our son had a birthday button. So I don't know if he saw those or if there was something
I would
happening.
say that's probably why. That would be my guess.
Yeah, don't know.
Let's go with that. I mean,
it was great.
Maybe they just retired and would help you get off the boat. Like next person,
Yeah.
like maybe it was like the end of his shift and he's like, I'm just gonna let him stay on, and the next person, I'll be out of here by the time they come back around.
Yeah, very possible.
Who knows? That'd be
But
me at
whatever
like
the
16.
reason was, it was great, and we felt pixie dusted, so that was great.
That's cool.
And then also at Animal Kingdom, we made sure to ride Dinosaur because we might not be back before they get rid of Dino Land.
And your son was cool with dinosaurs because Ricky scares her to death. She won't ride it.
We did not take him on Dinosaur.
Okay.
We switched out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
no, we didn't take him on Dinosaur, but he does love the Triceratops spin.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
that one will be missed. He loves that one. But by the time it's gone, he'll probably be too old for it anyway.
I mean, you have Dumbo. Just pretend.
I know. Yeah.
You got the carpets.
He loves all of those. Those are his favorites. So
that makes sense.
But yeah, so Animal Kingdom, I would say that was kind of the big one. And then I'm trying to think, when we went to Hollywood Studios, Kylo Ren actually interacted with our son, which we also really hyped that up. We're big Star Wars fans. And so our son is, because of us, a big Star Wars fan. And we really hyped up getting to see Kylo Ren and using the Force and all of that. And so when he walked by us, he stopped and spoke to our son, and it did scare him a little bit. But it was still really cool to see it happen, and we got a video of it and everything. So
I was going to ask you that. You have the camera ready because whenever you see characters at that age, because the interactions can be priceless, especially with like younger kids and characters at the Disney parks. Here's the thing. I got to ask you this because I'm a big Star Wars fan too. And of course, my kids, because they had to watch them when they were little too. Don't take this personally, but like Mallory, ever since she's a little kid, she's been watching Star Wars movies, but she has like Sith tendencies and she still does to this day. Like when she walks into a room, she's 16, varsity cheerleader. I still sometimes have to go do. I still play the Imperial March when she just comes in. I'm like, Oh Lord, what's going to happen
That's
now?
pretty
So
funny.
what gotta ask your son? Does he tend to? Is he more towards the Sith side of the world, or is he more towards the Force? I mean, or the
Well,
rebels?
he is a toddler. He is 3 and he was 2, and he does let the hate flow through him from time to time. So,
Anger
you
leads to the
know,
dark side.
yeah, we do have to try and tame it a little bit, but yeah,
Be
he
careful. I mean,
I
it's
know.
a dark path, and it starts
Yeah.
innocently. So
I
I'm
might
just
have to start doing that when he walks in a room too.
we
That's
still do
great.
it. We've been doing
I
it
love
since she was little. We're just like, oh my gosh, she's gonna be a Sith. Because it was right when like when the Force Awakens came out, like she was
that.
little,
Okay.
and I mean she wanted to be Rey and all this stuff, and I was like, oh,
Mhm.
I don't think she's going on the good side of things. Like I think we got a bad one here. I was like, I think she's gonna take Anakin's route. I'm worried. I'm worried for us. Anyways, her parents, this is not going to turn out well for us. Anyway, so yeah, Star Wars fans, you can read too much between the lines sometimes. So
Yeah.
what you guys? So Slinky Dog, you had as a highlight. Was that something you guys enjoyed?
Yeah, so we did Slinky Dog at rope drop. I would say that's a great way to do it. I think we waited 15 minutes for it. And it was before it got super hot. And I know that line in the middle of the day is outside when it's 95. That's
Oh, it's
not fun
hot.
for anyone.
Nope.
So definitely would recommend rope dropping that. It was our son's first like big roller coaster because he was tall enough to do that one this time. We had done Barnstormer with him one time before, but it really doesn't compare to Slinky Dog. So I was very excited to take him on that just because I remember how much I loved roller coasters as a kid, and I don't know. I was just very excited to go on it. He did not enjoy it.
I was say, did he not get scared like that at the beginning when it like launches up there? Because it's got a
He
pretty
he
intense like
did.
start.
He
Like
did.
it starts like hot that ride.
Yeah, he definitely was terrified. But we just tried to really again hype him up about it and make a big deal about it afterwards and talk about how cool it was that he did it and how fun it was. And he he kind of started to come around, and actually when we got home someone asked him what was your favorite part of Disney World, and he said Slinky Dog. And I
Okay.
kind of looked at them like, no, no, that's not
Yeah.
true, but it's nice that he said it.
Yeah,
It was cute.
you
So
had to be there.
yeah, exactly.
Not in the moment. So
Yeah.
you also mentioned you guys went to Epcot, your favorite park, and
Mhm.
it says you
Yep.
rope dropped Remy. So did that work out? Did you guys come in through the? Yeah, I guess you would have because you're at Caribbean Beach. You
Yes.
went through the International Gateway, so boom, right there, rope drop Remy. I'd
Yep.
imagine that was a big hit with your son too. That's a great family ride. You took it kind of thing.
Yeah, he liked Remy. And well, I will say though, he was a little too small to wear the 3D glasses. Like they kind of kept falling off of
They're
him.
heavy. They're big glasses.
Yeah, so I do think he would have liked it better if we weren't having to kind of like fix his
Hmm.
glasses the whole time. But I mean, it was good. I will say, I don't know that I recommend rope dropping Remy. That might be a hot take too. If you're gonna choose between rope dropping Remy or Frozen, I might go with Frozen, just because I think you'll get through the line quicker. You'll get off the ride sooner and be able to go on and do more things. Whereas Remy, it took us a while to get through because the most popular one for rope drop, I think. Um, so it took us a while to get through that line and off the ride. And by then it was basically time for park open.
Yep.
So we didn't really get to do any other rides before it got busier.
It is kind
So
of a
I would
tough call
honestly
though
recommend
because
just
yeah,
walking to Frozen and doing it first and getting if you're going to use, well, whatever the new system is, if you're going
yeah.
to use that, I recommend using it for Remy.
That's a tough call because you're doing a lot of backtracking if you're
Yes.
not, yeah, because you're going to spend a lot of time walking all the way to Norway, walking back to France, but
Yep.
otherwise you're taking a little bit more. Yeah, it's kind of like one of those just tough choices. But yeah, it's
It is.
either way. Okay, so let's talk about the Magic Kingdom though. How did your day go over there? Highlights from there.
Oh, it was great. And we actually did not a day and a half because we really went into Magic Kingdom at like 3:30ish on, our
Check-in
off
day.
day. um, so we actually had a lot of time. I stacked lightning lanes on our day that we went in late and did Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. We did Enchanted Tales with Belle. We met the princesses. I think there was something else. I don't remember. But I just stacked lightning lanes for that one. And we kind of, Peter Pan's Flight. That's the other one I stacked. So we did kind of those big things that fill up and our long waits on that day. And then the day that we rope dropped, we just did all of the little stuff for Jay. And that's our son's name. He loved it. We got to ride things multiple times. When we went in, we rope dropped Tomorrowland Speedway, and I think we did that 3 times that day.
Yes.
And then we kind of start in Tomorrowland and then just kind of make our way around through Fantasyland, go into the circus area and do Dumbo and Barnstormer, and then come out and go back around through the rest of Fantasyland and just make our way around to try to minimize the steps.
Yeah.
But so I think we did the Little Mermaid ride also probably 3 times that day. It also rained. So it rained that day. And we are people who stay in the park when it rains. And we don't necessarily take cover unless it's actually like storming.
Yeah.
So we take advantage of people leaving or not getting in lines for things. And we just do it. So that was really helpful too. We got through a lot of stuff because of that. I think.
like it. You're hardy. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's just liquid sunshine. That's all it is. Liquid sunshine, people. The weak are going back to their hotels. Just thinning out the herd.
And we did the same thing at Epcot, actually. It rained one of the days that we were at Epcot, and the storm passed, but it was still raining fairly hard. And I said, there's no wait right now to meet Anna and Elsa. And my son is a huge, huge Frozen fan. Loves Elsa, huge Elsa fan. And I said, there's no wait. And we were at Connections Cafe. And I said, we're walking. We're doing it. I mean, we had a stroller cover, so he didn't get wet.
Of course, he was like, let's go. I'm covered. That's how Mallory was. The little princess, she had a little covered stroller too. And I got soaked. She was just down there dry as a bone. Exactly.
Yeah. So highly recommend a stroller cover also, because you never know in Orlando when it's going to rain. So
and real quick, if you go into an attraction, put the cover on it while you're in the attraction, because you never know. Like it could start pouring while you're inside the Haunted Mansion. You come out and you have a bone dry stroller, and everybody else's is soaked. So just don't. Those storms pop up sometimes. You don't expect it. Use it.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, you will walk out of attractions and see tons of strollers that are soaking wet, and then a few who did that exact thing, and you're like, I
always forgot. I was like, oh, dang it, I should have done that. Sorry, Mallory. I think she'd be mad. Pam would be mad. I was lost. Anyway. So let me ask you this: a big fan of Anna, though, or no, Elsa, not Anna.
Mm-hmm. Big Elsa fan.
Oh, okay.
He does like Anna too, but he goes
for the power. He goes for the power. I see, because she's the queen. Okay, I see how he goes. Okay, so we're learning a lot about Jay here. I like this.
Yeah.
And he
loves all the princesses. Honestly, we met so many of the princesses, and they were all so great with him. Moana gave him the biggest hug. I don't know if this is well known or not, but the princesses do not release a hug from a child. They basically just wait until the child lets go. So they will sit there and hug your child until they let go.
Huh.
So he got a huge hug from Moana that lasted for a very long time. He's also a big Moana fan. And when we were at Magic Kingdom, we met Tiana and Rapunzel, and Tiana sat and spoke with him for a very, very long time. I started to feel bad as an adult looking at the line behind us. And I was like, this could go on for a while. I was starting to feel kind of bad. And Tiana the characters are just amazing. They're wonderful, wonderful people. And she said, well, it's a good thing I'm not in a hurry.
That's sweet.
She just reiterated, it's okay. It's okay that, he's taking longer. And so it's just, they were all just so great with him. And it was just so wonderful to see. It just warmed my heart.
And that's why we go, to make those memories.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah. And his
great.
face, I mean, just seeing his face light up when they're talking to him, that's what makes it. And people will say, why are you taking him at that age? He's not going to remember all these things. And I'm like, if you could see his face when we're there and when he's doing these things, you would understand, because he absolutely loves it. And that's what really matters.
And he'll come home with that memory and share it with folks and talk about it. That's super cool.
Yep.
All right, so we got it. We saved dining till the end. So
Okay. Yep.
you guys had some just whopper dining reservations. I mean,
Yeah, we
the
did.
one everybody just always tries to get that ADR that it's challenge, and when you get it, it's like you should get a gold medal. The Topolino's breakfast. You mentioned you guys had breakfast over at Ohana's, because you were at Polynesian. Chef Mickey's, Crystal Palace. You did Raglan Road. We don't talk about that much. Garden Grill, one of my favorite places. I mean, a lot of these places. Maybe give us, pick a few of your favorites and just give us a couple reviews. What stood out of your ADRs? What were your favorites?
Well, it's hard to say favorites because we love Raglan Road and Yak and Yeti. Those are two of our favorites that we always try to work in if we can. And this was my son's first time at Raglan Road, just because he's been so little the last times we've taken him. And it's very rowdy in there, very loud with the music and the dancing. But he absolutely loved it. Pro tip for Raglan, go early, go before your reservation. And when you get there, just tell them, hey, we would love a seat in the front by the stage, and we're willing to wait as long as it takes.
Which is funny because I wouldn't think folks with toddlers would go to Raglan Road. But I mean, this is great. I mean, this is why I love the diversity of our show, because this is thinking outside the box for me.
Yeah. Yeah. They love the entertainment. I mean, there were other families there with children who looked about the same age as Jay. And all the kids that I saw, including Jay, absolutely loved the entertainment.
Yeah.
They loved the live band.
That's awesome.
When the dancers were out there, they would get up and dance too. The dancers were waving at Jay from off stage. I mean, he was like smiling at them. I mean, it was very cute, and he loved it, and we love it because it's fun and the food is amazing. And
yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I highly recommend Raglan, and especially if you want to sit in front where the entertainment's happening, I recommend getting there early and just letting them know, hey, that's where we want to sit. And they can't always accommodate it, but if you get there early, they generally will try.
Yep.
So.
The rule at Disney is if you're willing to wait a little bit longer, they can usually accommodate. But if you don't expect like they're going to hit your ADR exact time and you want a specific seat, like if you say, look, I know it's a little bit extra, like I'm asking for something a little special, but I am willing to wait a little bit longer if it takes that, and kill them with kindness, and usually they can make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Raglan is one of our favorites that we try to do every time if we can. Yak and Yeti's another one that we love. We don't do it as often, probably, just because it's in the park, and we're not always, able to take a long break for a sit-down restaurant in the park. But we did the dining plan, so we knew we had a lot of table service meals that we needed to account for. So I said, we're doing Yak and Yeti this time. I haven't done it in a while. I love the food there.
I do love that place. I've been there years because I always forget about it. I mean, it's because it's kind of in the back of Animal Kingdom.
It is,
it's like that in Tusker House. Like I love both of those places, but they always slip my mind. But Yak and Yeti is solid. And I like the theming of the place, but the food there, it's so good.
Yeah, it's all great. But we also tried to do several restaurants that we had never done before. And we really prioritized character dining just for our son because he loves meeting the characters. And another pro tip, if you are taking a child who's under 3, which he was still under 3 because we went a couple weeks before his actual birthday, you can eat at the buffets and the family style meals with just 2 dining credits, and he still gets a full meal because he's considered under 3.
Yep.
So anytime we ate quick service, my husband and I were covered with our dining credits, but we would have to buy a meal for Jay because he eats enough that I don't want to share my food with him.
Right.
He'll eat all my food. So we still, he's in that area where he needs his own food, but at a buffet or a family style since he was under 3. We didn't have to have a dining credit, and we didn't have to purchase an extra meal for
Yep.
him. So we took it full advantage of those. So yeah, we did Garden Grill, Ohana, Chef Mickey's. Topolino's is not technically in that family style arena, so we did have to pay for a meal for him, which was fine and totally worth it because their food is fantastic.
Everybody raves about the quality of their food and the whole. I mean, was it the overall experience? Because I mean, I've eaten dinner there. It's beautiful in there. I mean, the ambiance of the place was awesome. But I mean, did it live up to the hype for you that you? Because obviously you researched it.
Yeah, absolutely, it did. My husband and I had eaten there for dinner once, several years ago, and loved the food. And I've always wanted to go for breakfast with Jay, just to enjoy the characters. And I know the food's going to be good, but we've never been able to get an ADR for it until this trip.
See, again, a gold medal. There you go.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we really lucked out. And again, I think picking a time that was less busy really helped with that too, just because, there's fewer people booking ADRs.
Mm-hmm.
But I am one to get up, the day that you're able to make them. I think it's 5 a.m. my time. I can't remember now. It's early.
Mm-hmm.
I get up at like 4:45, I think, and book our ADRs 60 days out. So I am one of those.
Hey, it pays off in the end. I mean, it's 30 minutes. It's an investment, is what it is.
Yeah. So, but it paid off. And yes, I would absolutely go back to Topolino's. It was amazing. The food was great. The characters were great, and it's beautiful. The view is beautiful. Just anytime you go to Riviera, anytime you want to go to Riviera for any reason, just do it because it's great.
That's a great tip. It's like the Polynesian too. I say exactly the same thing. Make an excuse to go to the Polynesian, whether it's just to get something at Captain Cook's, just quick get some nachos or just whatever. Go to Kona. It doesn't matter. Go to the Polynesian, get a Dole Whip. I don't care. Just go to the Polynesian, see the torches, see the palm trees. Just get there. It's Disney. Let me ask you this though: two of them that we haven't talked about. Pick which one you enjoyed the most: Chef Mickey's or Crystal Palace. Out of those two.
Oh, well, that's hard because we have done Chef Mickey's a few times. And it's nice because you get to meet like Mickey and the gang. Yep. But I liked Crystal Palace's food better. And it was the first time we'd been to Crystal Palace, and Jay loved getting to meet, all of the 100 Acre Woods characters. So that was really fun too. I don't know. I would probably say Crystal Palace at this point. I would go back there for their food.
I think I'm with you. Like if I had to, if right now, if somebody said, okay, you got a voucher and you can go Crystal Palace, you can go Chef Mickey's, both of them are paid for. You just get to go whichever one you want. I'd probably take Crystal Palace too for the food. Yeah. And the overall experience. I mean, I like being right there. It's pretty inside. You're right by the castle. I mean, you're right there on Main Street, USA. Kind of, it depends. If you're on that one corner, you're basically in Adventureland. Yeah. And those characters are they're fun. Like when Tigger comes around, he's a blast. And then on days, I feel like Eeyore on Mondays. I mean, I relate, boy. Eeyore, that's me on Monday trying to get down to my office. I feel you, Eeyore. So, yeah, it's like my yin and yang there, man. I feel it.
It was fun. Yeah. Jay, hopped around with Tigger, and it was great. I would definitely go back there. And we've been to Chef Mickey's several times. So for us, it's kind of, we can take it or leave it at this point. But I will say, I think my favorite place we ate was Ohana for breakfast.
Oh, I don't know if it's a hot take, but I prefer Ohana breakfast over Ohana dinner. I think it's.
I haven't eaten there for dinner, but I really want to, especially after having their breakfast. I decided the food's amazing. Got to have this for the other meals that they offer too at some point. So, I hope to do that one day, but we wanted Jay to meet Lilo and Stitch because he's a big Lilo and Stitch fan too. But the food there was just phenomenal.
I agree. I love that breakfast. And I mean, I like Lilo and Stitch too. They're fun. Now, is Mickey there? Because Mickey was there with Lilo and
Yes,
Stitch.
Mickey's
Okay.
there
I was like,
too.
am I hallucinating? 'Cause, I mean,
And
this was a long
Pluto.
time ago. And Pluto. Yeah, yeah. This
Yeah.
was a long time ago, and I was there. So it's good that there's still all four there because I have the pictures.
Mhm.
But it was a great way too. And the way we did it was, I mean, everybody can do it their own way, but like we rope dropped the Magic Kingdom that day, made our ADR for like 10-15. So like we
Okay.
had a Pop Tart out the door at Pop Century. We were at
Yep.
Pop. And so, we got like 4 or 5 attractions in at the Magic Kingdom. Like we did it hard at rope drop like at 8 because it opened like at 8. And we just
Okay.
tore up the Magic Kingdom. And like then by the time 10:30, 10:15 rolled around, we jumped on the monorail, came over to the Polynesian. We were starving. And then basically had this big old breakfast, and that carried us all the way through to dinner. And I mean, we
Oh
got this,
yeah,
you
it
got
is
out
a
of the
lot of
heat.
food.
It was great. I mean, it was such a perfect, like, it was almost like a midday break too. It worked out
Yeah.
perfect. It was a good way to do it.
Well, we did it a little bit differently because we ate there on the day that we switched from Caribbean Beach to Polynesian. And since we weren't rope dropping a park, we slept in a little bit and I booked like a 9 a.m. breakfast reservation, which probably still sounds early to some people, but when you have a toddler that gets up at, 6:30, 7 o'clock, regardless of what time they go to bed, 9 is pretty late.
Yeah. Oh.
So that gave us time to get our stuff together. We used the minivan service for that to transfer us over. We took our luggage with us, but we dropped it at Bell Services at Poly when we got there, and then just went to breakfast, and it was great. And after that, we just went to the pool.
Oh,
So
God.
it was
You're killing
perfect.
people that are going to work right now listening to this show. Like it's a Monday. People are like driving down the road. I gotta go to my job doing accounting today. And you're talking about dropping your
I'm an
luggage and going.
accountant.
Okay, I'm just saying. So is my sister-in-law. I'm not being mean to accountants. I'm just saying, like, I'm sitting here. I just got back from a cruise, man. I'm feeling it. I've been eating like unlimited food and unlimited ice cream for the last 6-7 nights. Trust me, I'm with you. Now I'm back to just typing all day long. I'm right in your same boot. I mean, I get to plan awesome vacations, but it ain't the same as just being on vacation either. I'm with you. No, nothing. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend accountants. I'm just saying.
No, you're exactly right.
It's
when
not
I
something
think
that's as
back
awesome
on
as
it,
going
I'm
to the
like,
Polynesian.
no, but when I think back on it, I'm like, I would much rather be there than sitting here with my spreadsheets. Like,
Oh,
absolutely,
Mike,
you're correct.
Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Where is the old? Put your foot in your mouth, Mike. There you go. The record scratch. Okay, so wow. Okay, so anyway, we got to wrap because we're going a little bit long, and I'll just embarrass myself. But we have real quick as we wrap though. You guys did a lot of transportation smartly over at the Caribbean Beach with the Skyline. You also took the minivan. So quickly, was that something you would recommend to folks, especially with a toddler, or was it something you thought, maybe it's overhyped, overpriced? What was your thoughts on that?
Well, it was our first time using the minivan service at all. And I was surprised by the lack of availability of the vans. So if you are wanting to use the minivan service, just keep that in mind that it may take a long time to get one. And you may actually get the message that they don't have any available right now. So definitely keep that in mind.
So what was your situation? Like, were you at a theme park or were you at the resort trying to get some, like, where were you trying to go?
No, we only used the minivan service when we were switching resorts.
Okay.
So once when we went from Caribbean Beach to the Polynesian, and then once again, unexpectedly, when we went from the Polynesian back to Caribbean Beach after our flight got delayed until midnight on our last day.
Yep.
And Caribbean Beach was, they had availability luckily that night, and we just went back there. So those were the only times that we used the minivan.
Interesting. Yeah, and you book those through the Lyft app. If you're ever
Yes.
wondering, you go into the Lyft app just like you would like an Uber app. And there's an option when you're on property to book. They are more expensive, obviously, than a regular
Yes.
Lyft. But
Yes.
I mean, it is a Disney driver, and they got you know what they look like. They look like Minnie Mouse. They're red and white, and they play Disney music, and the drivers are super friendly. I mean, it's a deluxe experience. I've done them. We just got lucky one time. We arrived at MCO. We were standing in line for Magical Express, RIP, and they walked up to us in the Magical Express line and just said, "Hey, you want to take a minivan over to Walt Disney World?" And I'm like,
Nice.
Okay. And like, we'll take you for free right now. Where's your family? I'm like, let's go.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I know.
That's
I was like,
great.
all right, now you're speaking my language free because I'm not paying. All right. So we got
Yeah.
him. Yeah, it was awesome. So, and
Yeah,
actually,
no,
we,
I
yeah,
highly recommend them. Like you
yeah,
said, the drivers are,
they're super
great.
nice. Yeah.
The experience was great. It was just, it is difficult to get one sometimes. So just keep that in mind, I would say. Um, we didn't take it to the airport. We only took it between properties. And we knew that it was going to be more expensive than a regular lift. So we kind of planned for that ahead of time. So definitely think about that when you're budgeting. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was a great service, and having a guaranteed car
Car
seat
seat.
was
Yeah, the
really
car
important
seat
to
thing.
us,
Yeah.
which is why we did it. We just wanted to be guaranteed that car seat and guaranteed enough space for all of our luggage. Because again, we were transferring resorts and we had a lot of luggage because we were there for a long time with, two adults and a toddler. So,
You just gave me a panic attack because we're recording this before I'm leaving for my cruise, and
oh,
it's me and a bunch of teenage girls and my wife in one
there
car.
might be a lot. There might be a lot of
And we're
bags.
getting
Yep.
ready to pack the car, and I kind of started to see the luggage piling up in the house, and I don't know how we're getting all that to the airport, but
Oh.
that's something I'll have to deal with in about 12 hours.
You're
So
gonna have to
yes, you
do some Tetris in the
I,
in the trunk.
exactly. People might have to have stuff on their laps in the back seat because you just I forgot about that having fun recording the show, and now you just brought it all right back to what I need
Oh
to deal with here in
no!
about 10 minutes when we stop recording. Anyway, so we got to wrap the show. It's been awesome talking about this trip, and I'm glad Jay's a rock star here. And I'm worried he also likes Stitch, so that kind of has me a little worried too. Anyway. But so as we wrap though, like one final memory from the trip. I mean, it's always fun to get to spend time, obviously, with your husband and with your son, and getting to make all these new memories, have these great meals. I mean, staying club level with the Polynesian, that's really hard to
Mhm.
top. But is there any other like stories or tips or like something that sticks out? One more story you'd like to share with the audience as we wrap here on a Monday?
I don't know if I have any other tips, but I would say, when we stayed club level at the Polynesian, we also had a theme park view, and we did watch the fireworks from our room one night, and that was really great. I mean, I think if you set the TV to a certain channel, it will just play the music. So you can hear the music in your room as you watch the fireworks overlooking the castle. And that was just great. I mean, our son is at an age where he doesn't love fireworks in person just because they're very loud. And even with ear protectors, he sometimes is a little bit, you know,
Mm-hmm.
unhappy with how loud it is. So having them in the room where he couldn't hear them but he could see them was just really great for us. And then it's obviously just really nice to be able just to go to bed
Yeah, I'm
afterwards.
saying
You don't have
exactly.
to you
We're
don't have to get
home.
in a line for a monorail. You don't have to get on a crowded bus. You just say, "Okay, that was beautiful.
No
How
kidding.
lovely. We've already had our showers. Let's get in the bed and go to sleep." So we're ready for the next day and we're fresh, for the next morning. Um, so it was just really special to get to sit and kind of privately watch them in our own room and as a family and enjoy them. And then also very convenient. So I just thought that was great. And I would 100% do it again. The fireworks are some of our favorite parts of Disney, just seeing the nighttime shows. So that was
Yeah.
really important to
It's
us.
super cool. I mean, that's why you stay there, right? I mean, it's one of
Yeah.
the reasons you got right over the water, Seven Seas Lagoon, the castle right there, the
Mhm.
fireworks happily ever after playing right there in your room, and you're with the
Yeah.
people you love. I mean, that's why we go
Yeah.
to Disney, right? I mean, that's it.
Yep.
That's
And you can
awesome.
look around and see other families also enjoying them. I mean, we were overlooking the beach area, and even just outside the Hawaii building, they have like a little lawn, and there were these two little girls that were clearly sisters, and they were just out on the lawn dancing to the music as the fireworks were going off, and it was just so sweet to see everybody just enjoying them as a family instead of in this big crowd.
Yeah.
It was a different experience that I hadn't had before, and I loved it.
I
It was
love hearing
great.
that because I get a huge kick out of seeing that kind of stuff too. Because when I go down solo for my races, I'm not with my family, but when I see families just having a good time together, it warms my heart because that's why the
Yes.
place was built. And,
Yep.
and I get to have those, like when I'm on my cruise with my family, like I'll be having those memories. And I've had so many times with my girls growing up, that's why we go. It's why we
Yep.
work so hard all year to save money to have experiences like this. So
Exactly.
it's been awesome, Angela. I know we went a little bit long, but I don't think anybody cares because it's been such a fun show today, and love talking with folks about these great experiences. So thank you so much for taking the time. I hope you guys have a great summer down in Tennessee, and tell Jay that we said thanks for being a rock star on today's show.
Yeah,
Appreciate it so much.
thank you so much for having me. It was so great. I love talking about Disney. Anytime I get the chance, I will do it. So thank you so much. This has been great. And yeah, he is a rock star. He handles it really well. They're tiring days, and he does a great job. So
I remember him. I remember him fondly because, it's a long time ago for me. So I can look back and say, I don't remember all the bad stuff. Because there were days, man. There were days. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. We're going to remind you that we will take care of your next Disney vacation. We'd love to do that over at the Magic for Less Travel. We'll help you plan your great Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney trip. The best part is no additional cost to you. Check out all the details right now over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make all these shows possible, and you can support us just $5 a month. You'll get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So coming over this week, lots to talk about. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. There's a place we want you to hang out. It's kind of like Cheers, like the old show that was on NBC. Everybody knows your name after a few days. It's called the Be Our Guest Podcast Clubhouse. It's our Discord server. I'll personally welcome you in and just say, hey, welcome to the place. And we're going to have fun. We talk Disney all the time. No ads, no nonsense. There's a channel for everything: cruise line, Disneyland, Southern California destinations, Central Florida destinations, international parks. We have Disney dining channels, the theme park channel. I mean, it's everything. We talk about just life in general with our friends too. So coming over, it's beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse, and we'll be looking for you today. So get over there right away. You can give me a follow on the social media at beourguestmike, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. And join us this Sunday night. Scott and I will be back together taking your calls live. So if you want to talk Disney about anything that's going on, we can't wait to hear from you. It's 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. We're going to be in 5 places: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. So give us a call Sunday night. All right. We're going to get out of here and let you get on with your Monday, but we'll be right back here on Wednesday with more of your listener questions. So for Angela down in Tennessee, I'm Mike here in Missouri. You guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.